Morning, guys. I'm going to do a similar layout as I usually do, like make the chatting video part one, part two, put a few pictures in. Now, I remember when you're talking about alternate living, I like the idea of adding property investment to it. See, the more people you put together, you could actually use primary residence as a tax escape, right? Doesn't mean you buy a house by yourself, but you find a property you like, you buy it as a group, you live in it, everyone puts money into it, everyone gets the same growth out of it if you ever decide to sell it, or they can sell their shares to another person who wants to invest in that house. And you live like a small tribe and a small community, because we're going in that direction where it's going to have to get done. And that's how we naturally lived anyway. Now, back when I was younger, in my party mode, but there was this one guy, he was a tradie, same as myself. There was a whole group of us tradies that hung together. A couple of university students, engineers, and that. It just depends what path you took when you got out of school. Anyway, and this guy, he went and bought, like, it would have been about 4-story house, really close to the beach. It was pretty cheap then, but he had the forethought. So he bought it, had a lot of extra rooms, so he couldn't afford the repayments on his own. But what he did was he leased the rooms out. And it was probably, I think, 1 bedrooms. There was probably about 5-6 little 1-bedders and converted from maybe an office into a bedroom. So he made as much as he could. And being in a university town of Wollongong, he leased them all out. And that's how he was able to afford a house 1 street back from the beach. Wasn't bad. It was in the centre of town too. So I don't know what he ever did to it. You know, everyone gets older, you go your own ways, but that's one way of property investing in town, right? And then if everyone does it with help, you can adjust. Trust funds are now too hard to do because of the government tax. They're absolutely smashing onto it. So you always got to angle it so you get your shit for nothing. I got another friend just recently, he got divorced. And what he went and did, he got everything he had left. He bought a workshop. Now, he was in the heavy machinery industry. So he bought a workshop, okay? He built a small unit inside of it, which, all right, government doesn't allow, but mind your own business where I live, you know. That's the way it is. It wasn't a small workshop, it was a decent sized workshop. Not super massive. Get the standard size workshop you see today, double it is a rough approximate. And what he did at one end of it, he built a 2-bedroom unit. And everything he used on that workshop was a tax deduction, because it was his primary residence he had written off on his parents. So he lived with his parents by paperwork, and he lived in the workshop. He had a very comfortable unit. He had all his toys, like he was a collector of Harley Davidsons, so he had his Harley Davidson collection down there. He had his car collection, he had his vehicle, you know, so he had a nice little setup. He ended up selling it because he found a new missus. But that's another way of doing it. If you want to go live out on the farms, I've always liked the idea of building a big shed. So you build a big shed, in which I'll show you in the pictures. I've got one. It's got about 5-6 bays in it. So you've already got the outer skeleton of your house there. So let's say 5-6 massive bays. You build up one bay, double story, as your house. Doesn't have to go through government regulation. All right. In that, building a bio toilet, very easy. Very easy. You just got to place yourself right so you got a bit of runoff. All right. Very easy to create a bio toilet. Shower, you might have to go solar or something for that. Like, everyone likes a little bit of comfort. All right. So a shower's a necessity. Right? The other option, again you'll see in the pictures, is you look at farms with the old decrepit farmhouse. But the farmhouse is in that shit condition you can't live in it. All right? You can't live in it. So the farm will sell for generally the farm price, because you put accommodation on the farm, it goes up a fair bit. But if it's a decrepit farmhouse that's ready for what they class as knockdown, well, the farm will still sell for the land price and they won't include the house. That's a massive benefit, all right? Because you could literally restore that house. Check if it's got power. If it's got power, that's another massive, because power costs these days, you're looking, adding power to a farm, you're looking at about 25 to 50 K. Yeah, 25K to 50K. Just depends on your distance, how hard it is to dig through the land to get to your place. Are you going to go use posts, or are you going to go underground? You know, so it's a massive cost. So if you find a farm with an old decrepit farmhouse on it, and it's got power running, it's got plumbing running, just needs reconnection, that's a little gold mine, guys. It's a little gold mine. The other thing you got to watch on farms is your fence line. Because fences, you'll be in shock how much it costs to build a fence line around your property and make paddocks and that. That itself is a massive cost. So always check your fence lines. What other hints? What other little hints are there? That's just some of them I know. There is a few more, but the other thing I do like is if you do make a community, and let's say you got people, it's going to take a long time to reattach to people. That's one of the big ones. Now, if you've got someone that doesn't want to move out on the farms and wants to buy a house in the city or the suburbs, you get together as a group, right? I cannot emphasize more, and don't work on the trust method. You work on the paperwork method. So you'd have one in your group that's specifically tied down, possibly a lawyer or a accountant that knows how to do legal paperwork, and everyone gets treated fairly. All right? And you could place that person in the suburbs. You could deck their backyard out if they want to deck it out as a garden, as a vegetable garden more so. We used to laugh at the old Europeans, Eastern Europeans, when they used to do their gardens in the front and backyard. We're going in that direction, guys. In America, it's illegal to, in some places, it's illegal to keep bloody chickens. Imagine that. It's illegal to have a veggie patch in some places of America. If Australia is going to go that far, I don't know. But anyway. All right, guys. Like I said, I'll put a couple of pics in. This will be part 1 of the vid. The pics are part 2. You'll see what I mean. The big shed I picked was pretty awesome because it was, you could see it's a double story. There's a ute parked next to it. And it's about 5 bays. All right, guys. Take it easy. We'll chat soon.